if you guys really want to know a band that understands Kabbalah, the occult, and all things Illuminati, not in a bad way, definitely check out Blue Oyster Cult. Grew up listening to these guys. So I'm going to get around to doing some request videos, and this one is particularly important mainly because it talks about the use of the metaphysics of chess and how chess was more than just a board game, and in some cases I believe was actually more of a magical structure that later, much like the tarot cards became like a divination card, I think the chessboard and the chess pieces became more a game to hide the true meaning behind chess and its true symbols. If you look at it, really, it's two opposing forces with the king and queen vying for control of the chessboard, which is essentially the world. So I believe that the Templar Knights and the Jesuits probably got this game from another group, probably a secret society, whose eventual plans were for world domination, or at least the domination of those around them to consolidate power and then to get a bigger and bigger chessboard, which is, of course, representation of the earth. In fact, the Druids used checkered game boards as a way to explain the astral world. And the pieces of the chessboard are all our little roles that we play. The way that I understand them within the order of the Draco Slayers, which now it's pretty much me and one other, and other people outside of the group who would like to also operate with us, we start with the pawn, and the pawn for us is really a way to find out how we are being used and how we are being treated like pawns, where the Illuminati would say, how do you treat others like pawns? How do you get others to be your pawns? We've always looked at it as, whose pawns have we been and how can we stop being them? The rook is a support column, basically. Within our order, we look at it as, what are we supporting? You know, when you really look at your life, you'd be very shocked to see what your actions are giving permission to. You know, a lot of people support their own demise. A lot of people are supporting their own prison. A lot of people are supporting their own enslavement. If you're supporting a criminal Illuminati-run government with how you vote, or if you don't, or your level of involvement, then you are in fact strengthening their control over you. Also, if you support families, if you support communities, if you support divinity, if you support strength and honor, then it's time to start working to actually support those as opposed to just saying that you do. So, where the pawn is who's controlling you, the rook says, what are you supporting? Are you supporting positive? Are you supporting negative? So it really is more of an interdimensional, you know, figuring out the landscape of your own personal chessboard as opposed to also a global chessboard. So what are you supporting? The rook would ask that. The knight asks, what are you fighting for? What are you defending? What are you championing? What are you championing the cause? You know, whose champion are you, and what are you the champion of? So again, much like the supporting, this is more an active pursuit. What's worth fighting for? You know, me personally, I stand against the Illuminati every single day. I stand against enslavement. I stand against infringement of not even civil rights, but if you really read the Constitution, they're inalienable rights. No government can give them to you. The high prime creator gave them to you. So I don't need the Constitution to tell me that I'm free, because I already am. But most of the Illuminati know that most people don't know that. They're like, oh, the Constitution gives me these rights. So if it goes away, then I don't have them anymore. No, the prime creator gave you those rights. So you better fight for them, people. You better fight for the rights of other people, because if their rights go today, your rights go tomorrow. We all live in a symbiotic relationship, and when someone is being abused, we're all being abused. When someone's enslaved, we're all enslaved. And when somebody's set free, we all need to be set free. Do you get that? So the knight asks you, what are you fighting for? What cause are you the champion for? And some of you might find out that you're the champion of some pretty petty or maybe pretty vile things and didn't even know it. Believe me, in my younger years, it was a hard lesson to figure out, wow, that's what I'm supporting, and that's what I'm and that's what I'm the championing of. It was very difficult, but you look at it, you look at the ugly face of it, and you change it. The bishop is then more of the religious, philosophical nature. Now that you know what you're supporting, now that you know what you are going to champion causes for, the bishop now is more of like, what religious structure are you following? You know, what are you following a spirituality of slavery and fear and guilt? Or are you following a spirituality of liberation, of empowerment, of uncovering divinity, as opposed to kneeling to some divinity and saying, please don't hurt us? I follow a path, and the order follows a path. Well, the order remaining. I don't know about the others. Follow a path of uncovering our own inner divinity to be like. Remember, religion is the imitation of your gods upon the earth. So if I say that I am a priest of Thor, then I do what Thor would have done. And in my personal life, I do a lot of things Thor did. But I also stand against horrible, gigantic odds. And with all my might, I put all my creative power to use, and I'm going to strike those big giants down. Okay? That's what the bishop talks about. The bishop talks about what is your relationship to a greater spirituality. Now we move on to the king or queen, depending on your gender. The king is basically saying, I rule now because I understand what I support, what I champion, and what I believe in. Now I'm ready to rule this chessboard. Now I'm ready to see that I'm nobody's pawn. Now I'm ready to see what I'm supporting. Now I'm ready to see what I'll fight for. Now I'm ready to see what I believe in, and therefore I'm able to wear the crown to make the decisions. Now, energetically, every king has his energetic queen, and every queen has her energetic king. So when you achieve that appropriate chess piece for you, you get the energetic qualities of your gender opposite. So I got the king, I was granted a energetic queen to go along with it. If you look at Kabbalic symbolism, to become one with Malkuth, to become one with the kingdom, is to be married to the inferior bride. Now, the inferior doesn't mean bad, it just means lesser bride, because goddess is superior, and then anything that is not superior is inferior to the superior. So it's not a judgment call, it just means you are now married to the element of the earth unto which you rule, which is your own particular reality. This is why kings of the past were married to the land. It's all Kabbalic symbolism, people. Every single bit of it is Kabbalic symbolism. So that's what you get. You are married to your gender opposite counterpart. Now, the there's a story I'm going to tell briefly about the Rothschilds. Now, I'm sure the story has been changed a little bit here and there, but the original story that I've heard it was that they call him Daddy Rothschild, sat down with his two sons and said, we're going to play a game, and took out a checkered board. And the kids looked at it and kind of said, well, what game is this? And he put out the chess pieces, and he said, we are going to learn to be masters of this game. And I'm going to teach you how to play this game better than anyone else in the world. But we are going to teach everybody else how to play checkers. And he took out checker pieces. Now, it's the same board, okay? But the only game that matters is chess. So, they became masters of chess while they taught everybody else how to play checkers. Now, they knew that eventually other people are going to realize that it's not checkers, but it's chess. They knew that when that happened, they would still be masters of the board. That these people, even though now they're playing the game that matters, are light years behind them in figuring out how to actually play it. They also knew that the common man would become so good at checkers that it would be through pride that they would refuse to admit that there's another game being played. They wanted people to become masters of checkers because it kept them being really good at what doesn't matter, thus distraction, thus all the Hollywood videos and all the sports and all these things that don't actually matter. You get really good at that. And then you refuse because you're so in depth, so practiced at the art of checkers, you refuse that there could even possibly be another game out there. And lo and behold, there is. So he also told his sons that the day will come that chess pieces appear on the big giant board of the earth. And that people will be so frightened that they will ignore what they see, suspend their belief, and continue playing the old game for sake of not knowing how to do anything else. That's the scary reality of the Illuminati, and that's the power structure that's beginning to emerge. I invite you to really look at the metaphysical pieces of the chessboard, to go through them, spend a month on each piece and meditate on each piece until you get up to the king or queen, and look at your own personal chessboard and figure it out, the matrix of the way your life is. This is a powerful, powerful process, something that I did a whole couple years within the order, but I'm releasing a little bit of it because it would take me a whole book and a half to really put it all down. But at least this way you'll have a better idea. And then slowly but surely, a lot of you who are very smart individuals will begin to piece it together and begin to see the matrix emerge in front of you. Good luck with that.